house, ACP Dr. Benjamin Agordzo. ACP Dr. Benjamin Agordzo. It's my guest. And we're about to have a very beautiful conversation. Doc, ACP, which one should I call you?
Just any of them.
And how are you doing?
I'm doing very well, Blakk Rasta. It's good to see you, and it's an honor to be here.
Thank you so much for accepting to talk to us. Now, you were arrested, in fact, and you were said to be a man who was attempting a coup in Ghana. Is that true?
Blakk Rasta, that is the claim, or that was the claim of the state.
Right.
At the time. And they pushed that agenda for almost 5 years. At the end of the day, I insisted on my innocence, and then the courts of competent jurisdiction acquitted and discharged me. So they told their story at the time, and this is my time to tell my side of the story, which I have put together in a book which is about to be launched on the 30th of this month.
So there is a book that is going to be launched on the 30th of this month, and it talks about all these things?
Absolutely. From the time of my invitation to the time of my acquittal.
Interesting. Interesting. Sorry for the rude welcome. Let me do it properly. Tell me about yourself. Where were you born? Which schools did you go to? What kind of parents did you have?
I was born in Sunyani. And my parents were, my mother was a trader, kenke seller.
Wow.
And my father was working at the military barracks at the time, and then retired. And we came home to Vakbo, where I attended Vakbo Secondary School, and then continued to Pandu Secondary School, to the University of Cape Coast, and then to Norway to do my master's, and then to Italy to do a PhD.
Wow.
And so, talking about my education, that is the background.
Did you always want to be a policeman?
I would say no. I had always wanted to be a lawyer myself.
A lawyer?
And a lecturer as well. But things didn't work out well, so I became a police officer at a point in my life.
In default?
Yes, generally, that's what happened. I must be frank. And so that's how things went. But I enjoyed being police officer, and I've never regretted ever being a police officer in my life.
I'm glad that you are a police officer and we're talking. In Ghana, in fact, statistics would tell us that about 90% and even more of everyone who is recruited into the police service or offers himself to be recruited into the police service is in there by default. They are only there because of what to eat. Is it true or is it a lie?
I don't know where that research is coming from, but talking about myself, I wouldn't say that policing was my primary idea of becoming of occupation or career. And so I will speak about myself, and since I don't have any research to that effect, I wouldn't want to agree with you, but I wouldn't also want to disagree. Yes.
Why is the police service in Ghana not that attractive?
Well, there are many reasons why it may not be attractive, and
Okay.
I must talk about myself. I remember when I wanted to enlist in the police service, my mother cried.
Wow.
My father was not enthused.
Really?
Many people asked why I wanted to take that route. But somehow I insisted that, well, that was what was available for me at the time, and that was what I was going to do. And I promised them that despite that, my dream, I wasn't going to lose sight of my dream, and that's what I did. because I had always thought of becoming a lecturer and so holding a PhD. And at the end of the day, even as a police officer, I did. And I think that I've not missed too much of my dreams.
Have you taken a bribe as a policeman before?
I don't remember ever taking a bribe from anybody. If anything, maybe some people may have appreciated my work. And after I have done all that I'm supposed to do, they decide to give me something, and I will not say that I've never taken appreciation from people. That's what I would say. Yeah. And I dare anybody out there listening to me to say that, oh, he remembers he gave Benjamin Agordzo bribe, and I took it.
ACP Dr. Benjamin Agordzo is my guest. Now, there was a viral video of you, teaching in front of a blackboard. In fact, a board. And it went viral all over Ghana. Briefly, were you speaking against the police service or against the state? What was it about?
First of all, let me say that my name is Agordzo.
Agordzo.
Secondly, there are a number of viral videos that may not necessarily be me. And I'm here to talk about myself. So I have not done that video, and I know that people have mistaken me for that.
Okay.
The only viral video I didn't do it, was the lecture I gave at IDEG.
That's right.
And that's what I can
is
speak
3FM.
to. And any other one, maybe the person looks like me, but I'm not the one.
What did you say at IDEC?
At IDEC, having worked for almost 30 years in the police service, having worked from the tactical level to the operational level, and almost at the strategic level, I had witnessed a lot of interactions. I've had interactions with all the people who matter. And I had come to the conclusion at the time of giving that lecture that unless something was done by way of modification of our constitution, our police service was not going to move forward.
That's the viral video I'm talking about.
And that's exactly what I did.
This is 3FM.
And I did not just do that. I also canvassed for the fact that we needed to win the police off the executive, not completely, because definitely the executive cannot be completely, but by way of appointment, by way of promotions, and a lot of other things, we could do better. But the current structure as we have is problematic.
Did you run into any problems after that lecture?
After that lecture, definitely, having worked in the police service for 30 years, almost 30 years at the time, I knew the implications. In fact, before I went for that lecture, I knew that speaking against an establishment in a third world country like Ghana, particularly as a police officer, people were not going to be comfortable with it. And I also knew at the time that it was going to put me on the national security radar. And so I was aware of what I was doing, and I knew the consequences. And so when it started, the consequences started manifesting. I wasn't surprised. And that was why when many people, when almost everybody was worried about my arrest,
yes,
I kept a cool heart because I knew exactly where it started and where we were going and how it was going to end.
Did they put you on a national security radar?
Definitely after that IDEC presentation.
They did?
They did. They may deny it and they will never accept it. But that is it. And that's the nature of the job right here. That when you speak against the establishment in that strong manner, in that passionate manner, they observe you. They watch you. Even media people, they watch you. Anything that you do, you are watched. And so speaking against the presidency, not the president. Remember, I didn't speak against the president. I spoke against the presidency.
That's correct.
This is 3FM.
The mandate of the president, the powers of the presidency, whether it's party A, party B, I'm talking about the presidency. At the time, whoever was there felt threatened that I had spoken against their authority.
Now, from the grapevine, I am told that your arrest was actually perpetrated by the defense minister. Is it true? Do you know? Do you not know? Do you suspect it or not? Somebody from how's it called? A WhatsApp page mentioned to me that there was a certain kind of argument between you and a defense minister on the page. Is it true or is it a lie?
Blakk Rasta, today I'm here. I've spoken about those things in the past.
Oh, you did?
But the details of what really happened, how it happened, are all captured
in the book.
In the book that I've written. How it all started from a different platform.
Yes.
Are all captured in the book. And I believe that I'm not here to go into those details, but I will not dispute it. It's a fact that people
This
can
is 3FM.
read the details about when they have access to the book.
Did you hear that? When you get that book, it is true. It's not disputing it that a minister of defense had a hand in it. What really happened? You would find out when you get that book. We're going to go into the book in a jiffy. But you were arrested. You were first invited, right, by the authorities. Yeah. And you went. And when you went, what was the reception like?
Let me put it this way, my brother. I have told part of that part of the story in that book.
Yes.
And it is meant to sensitize people who may, for one reason or the other, find themselves with some of these law enforcement agencies. How you should conduct yourself, things that you must watch out for. I would say that I didn't receive the best of reception.
Wow.
But I wouldn't go into those details for now.
Were you beaten?
Nobody beat me, although I can say that others were.
Wow.
Some of my other co-accused persons alleged that they were.
And now convicted.
And they were denied
bail,
access to their lawyers, although I insisted having my lawyers around. And all these stories and how it will affect others in future are the reasons why I have put this document together from the day of my invitation through all the committal proceedings to the trial court to the day of judgment.
Interesting. We were told at a point you were on hunger strike, true? Or that's a lie?
Blakk, I was never on hunger strike. And I never told anybody I was on hunger strike. But the fact remained that I never ate at the BNI custody. I stated that earlier elsewhere, and I believe that I can repeat it, that I never ate at their custody. Particularly the first time when I was arrested for the first 5 days at the headquarters, because I couldn't trust people who had fabricated stories against me to eat their food. And I decided not to eat their food, even if it meant that I was going to die of hunger. I was ready to do that.
How did you survive?
I survived by drinking water, and somebody may ask, but they provided the water. Yes, they did. They brought a lot of sachet water there. And I was not alone in the custody. There were a number of people around. At the time I went there, we were more than 6 or 7. And they were always bringing various sachets of water there for us. So at any point in time, anybody could pick. And I knew I could survive without food, but I could not survive without water. So I managed to take water for 5 days whilst I was in custody.
5 days?
And I never ate any food brought by BNI.
Why? Were you not allowed to bring food from home?
The BNI will not allow you. Even visit was not an easy thing.
How about the quality of their food? What kind of food was it? Was it good? Was it bad food?
From what I have observed from afar, because I never tasted it, I would say it's normal. I would say it's normal.
What kind of food was it? Was it gobe or akplen fetri?
I thought I saw something in the form of gobe at a point in time. I didn't see fried plantain. I saw beans. I saw gari. Because my colleagues went there, picked the food, came back and ate their food while I was around and drinking my water. I saw banku. I saw kenke. I saw mpc. Well, I would say that there was some form of variety.
This is 3FM.
Now, the people that you were accused alongside, did you know them from somewhere?
I never knew any of them. I had never met them anywhere. And the interesting thing is that despite what I've told you, it was part of the facts of the case in the court was that I had met them, at least two of them, discussed the coup d'etat with them. That was the funny aspect of it. And these are some of the things that makes me passionate about my book, that the world should know, and those Attorney General's office, the police, and all the institutions must know that they are being watched.
Wow.
They could do it to others, but others will come back and tell their stories. For instance, you knew for a fact I had never met this before, so they could fabricate a story and make an innocent person look like a guilty person. Interestingly, the courts will also treat you as if you are guilty until finally a judgment is made.
Interesting. As a policeman, when you were invited by the BNI and, all those other agencies and all that, what role did the IGP play as a senior police officer, to facilitate whatever it was for your comfort?
I will say that at the time, Mr. Opombwenu was the IGP.
Right.
And I must commend him for the role that he played.
Interesting.
I wouldn't want to go into those details, but he played very positive roles by way of seeing to my welfare, sending people to come and see to my welfare. When the court ordered, when my lawyers also petitioned the court that I was not being given the best of treatment at the BNI cells then, the then BNI cells, I was supposed to be remanded in the IGP's custody. And the IGP made sure that he got a place for me. It will never be like home, but it was better than the BNI cell where I had almost everything to myself. It was like a house arrest.
Were you allowed conjugal visits whilst at the IGP's custody?
Let me say that I was never allowed. Nobody told me whether I could be allowed or not, except that it was not part of my... my wife visited me, but my wife never passed the night there. They could come there and stay with me, with the family, with the children, with colleagues, with the friends. But by evening, they all left.
Oh, so conjugal visits were allowed, at least?
Well, maybe, but I would say that maybe they allowed it indirectly, but without saying it openly.
Okay, I understand.
This is 3FM.
He's called ACP Dr. Benjamin Agordzo. That's his name. He was accused of plotting a coup d'etat with some other people. He was acquitted, and the others were convicted. He's put everything in a book, and he says the book is heavy. He says the book is a gold mine. He says he has said things in the book more than what he said at IDEC, and that is an eye-opener. If there was one thing you were supposed to say about this book, for us to all want to go get it and read, on the 30th, right? What would it be?
I will want people to read chapter 27 of my book to find out whether this whole coup was orchestrated by people in authority for personal reasons, or they were real coup. I have put out every information that anybody will need to know about it. Remember, when I was acquitted, a few people asked me those questions, and I decided not to answer those questions because I knew how sensitive it would be. And even now, I'm not going to talk about it. I said, go and read it.
You've written it there?
I've written it there. The chapter is
27.
Chapter 27. And also go and read chapter 25, particularly, which is titled Injustice in the Justice System.
Interesting.
Where I chronicled everything that happened in terms of human rights abuses and violations and disrespect, indignities and other things, from the police even to the courts, even courtroom processes.
Wow.
And how it affected individuals. I have tabled everything there.
There was a lady as a co-accused, right?
Yes, there was a lady.
Wow.
There was a lady. One of the 10 accused persons was a lady.
What role did she play? Did she cook food for you people or what?
Well, I don't know what you mean by she cooked food for us. At the prison or at the cells as well?
No, as when you were plotting the coup.
When I told you I never knew those guys, nobody. I never knew Esther from anywhere. I had never met her. I'd never met any of the 9 from anywhere. The first time I met these 9 people was in the court.
You were acquitted. Did they compensate you?
I've not been compensated. I think it's one of the things that my lawyers are looking at. But you see, in this whole thing, timing is very important. I wouldn't even want us to start anything at the time when the same people who accused me falsely are still in charge.
Oh, you don't trust them?
I cannot trust anybody who was part of this false accusation and trial, from the BNI to the Attorney General's office to anywhere you can imagine. And therefore, I would rather wait.
When they are out of power,
and
then
I don't care who comes in, at least the principal people will not be where they are.
Interesting.
They will not be where they are. Yes.
ACP Dr. Benjamin Agordzo is my guest, and we are rounding up this beautiful interview. Now, the book is going to be available on the 30th of this month. My brother, 30th of this month is going to be happening. Where are you launching the book?
To be at Christ the King.
Oh, Christ the King.
At Cantonment, opposite the Jubilee House.
Opposite the Jubilee House. Is it intentional?
No.
Are you trying to show them that, yes, you have made the book?
No, far from that.
Okay.
I could have launched this book even in my village. But the only reason why I'm going to that place, interestingly, I remember the last time I was there, it was Manasseh who launched his book there, and I was there.
Yes.
So I just decided that why not launch mine also there?
It's one of the best places to launch a book.
So it's not by any other reason or purpose. No.
How much does a book go for?
For now, we have not determined the cost, but it's a more than 500-page book, very detailed, and it concerns every aspect of our justice system.
Is this the first time you're writing a book?
This is my first time, and I was motivated right from my arrest. When I realized that my detention was imminent, I motivated myself.
Interesting. What's the title of the book?
The title of the book is From Persecution to Freedom. That is the main title. And the subtitle is Reflections on My Journey Through the Justice System in Ghana.
Some people go to jail and come out distraught. You didn't go to jail. You just went to, behind bars, and I don't know how you technically call those places. Detention. Has it affected you in any way?
Let me first of all say that I was detained in BNI cells for 1 week. I was also detained in Ministries Police Station for about 3 to 4 weeks. Then to IGP's custody. I was rearrested to BNI cells again for another 2 weeks. So it's not an easy thing.
It's not.
So having said that, I have never been broken down by this issue at all. I was rather motivated to tell a story. And that is why every step on the way I took notes. There are certain details you will read in that book, and the affected persons will be wondering whether I was doing recording. Because they will be surprised the kind of details that I have written. Right at every stage, I kept, where I did not have pen and paper, I kept everything in memory, and as soon as I got paper, I made sure. And maybe you'll be surprised why this judgment was in January this year, and a book of about 500 pages, over 500 pages is ready. I finished that book by March.
Interesting.
The judgment was on 24th of January, and by March, there was a big full stop. By the time, in all, we have 28 chapters, and I had written 26 chapters before the judgment.
Is your life under threat?
No, I don't see it that way. I know that there had been some movements around me in the past, but I believe that my life is not under threat.
Do you walk around armed?
No, I don't walk around armed.
No.
Although I must say that
Spiritually fortified?
Spiritually, yes.
Oh, wow.
Spiritually, yes.
Is it Nogokpo or is it...
I cannot go to Nogokpo.
Oh, okay.
I'm a
This
Christian and a good Christian at that. Yes. So I wouldn't go to Nogokpo.
I see. But do you work with a bodyguard?
No. I've never had a bodyguard throughout my career. Even though at a point in time, there was a need to have one when I was a director of operations. I never did.
Are you looking at being an IGP one of these days?
I'm a retired officer now.
Wow.
And I can contribute to any other thing. Life is all about... And what I'm doing...
How about a minister? Minister of Interior or something?
Let me just answer this question. There are different roles that people could play in society.
Yeah,
and
that's
one
true.
of them is this book I'm writing. And I tell you, it is going to educate and sensitize a lot of people.
Right.
It is going to trigger a lot of reform, right from the police, the BNI, the courts, and the judiciary. Because at each point in time, I have discussed and written copiously about certain activities I've encountered.
ACP Dr. Benjamin Agordzo, thank you so much. We appreciate you for coming on the show. And we are all going to be at Christ the King. What's the time?
4:30.
4:30 p.m.
We are starting at 4:30. In fact, the time is 4, but by 4:30, when the chairman for the occasion arrives, we are starting immediately.
And then when police people tell you 4:30 is 4:30,
When I say
they will
4:30
start.
is 4:30, we are
and
starting.
the books will be
Even
available.
if we have one person in the room, we will start at 4:30.
That's what he is
Once the
telling you.
chairperson is there.
Thank you so much for coming on the show. We appreciate you. We're going to find some time after the launch of the book. We'll have the opportunity to read the whole book, and then we'll sit down again and do a 2-hour interview. Thank you so much for coming on the show. We appreciate you.
I'm grateful and honored to be part of this program. Thank you so much.
Luca Production.